All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I lost my screen here, so just give me one moment. There we go. Learning how to do things on a Mac while my computer gets fixed is difficult. I'm using my husband's computer, and it's been a learning curve. So what I'd love to do is just start off by everybody introducing themselves, where they're calling in from, and what inspired you to join the masterclass, just so we can get to know each other a little bit. And then I'm going to ground us into the space because we will be setting some intentions. We'll be working with our medicine bags. And so that's important to me that I ground the space in. So hi, I'm Kimberly. I know a lot of you from Facebook, but we may not have met in person yet. And I am from Port St. Lucie, Florida. And I started doing medicine bags when I was introduced to it from my brother and sister-in-law, actually, who gave me my first piece of fabric that I still use for my medicine bag. And then just between my moon circles that I do and some of the other magical things that I do, I've just incorporated that into a lot of my daily and monthly usages around the moon. Anybody want to go next? Is everybody there? There we go. I saw people unmute.
I will. I don't care. Me or Kimberly, I don't know. It doesn't. The crickets, right? Yeah.
It's okay. I get used to that.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm actually in the Southern Finger Lakes region of New York State. We had unseasonably warm weather today in the 80s, which is really weird because I'm out there raking fall leaves in the 80s. And yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm an herbalist and an herbal educator. And I actually, my Nana was indigenous. And so medicine bags have always intrigued me.
Mm.
She didn't really work with them, but that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this. So
Oh,
I'm
I love
excited.
that. What part of the Finger Lakes? I'm from Oswego, New York, so I'm really familiar with the Finger Lakes.
Oh, okay. So I am literally 25 minutes south of Seneca.
Oh,
So just,
wonderful.
yeah, I'm in Corning.
My favorite lake and
Yeah. Oh, I
wineries
love
to
Seneca.
visit.
Seneca is amazing. Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I moved to Florida 8 years ago, so I'm very familiar with New York, seeing as I lived there most of my life. And we have a family summer camp up in the Thousand Islands, so I get up every summer
Where
still.
in the Thousand Islands? I have to ask. My mother was
Chameau
born in
Bay.
Grindstone. Which?
Chameau Bay.
I'm not familiar with that one. Okay.
So it's on the lower end, it's on the most western side of the Thousand Islands. When you go around
Okay.
Lake Ontario and then
Yeah.
and head north, we're up in
Okay.
this little inlet off of Lake Ontario, and it's about 20 more minutes to the Thousand Islands that most people know, but we're still part of
Okay.
that region.
Okay. So
Like
I've got a lot
about
of
40
family up in
minutes from
Clayton.
Alex Bay. Yeah,
Okay.
Clayton,
Yeah. See, Alex Bay and Clayton. Yep. My mom was
Cape
born on
Vincent.
Grindstone.
We're
So
in Cape Vincent all the time, and Clayton's right next. So yeah.
yep.
Oh, I love it. Ah,
Cool.
hello, hello. And who do we have on with the Zoom user is what the name is. With the beautiful tree. Who are you that's joining us? Your name isn't on.
That's me. My name is Denise.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Hi.
I know
It's
Denise. So Denise and
me.
I have not met in person yet, but we did a moon circle together. We're in the same
Yes.
city, but we haven't met in person yet.
Yes, we are. So I'm from Port St. Lucie, Florida too, and I'm here to learn because I'm a newbie and a beginner at everything. And I don't know. I'm just here to learn.
This would be a great practice to bring in,
Yeah.
and I want to get my moon circle started again. Like I said, Denise joined one of mine, so it's hard when you're doing it virtually. Not everybody wants to join, so I put together this whole thing and ritual, and then nobody shows up. It's like you kind of get a little discouraged. It's a lot of work, but I'm figuring doing master classes to start and getting people into what I do might help with some of
Yeah.
the with doing some of the moon circles, because these are short and easy, and it's not a 2 hour call doing a moon circle. It's just an hour, if we even do that. It just depends on, it's just the three of us, so we might move through it quickly. I do have my phone. That's what you see the picture, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to actually show you instead of picking up my computer. I'm going to
Okay.
take you through, like, with my medicine bundle and lighting the candle and everything. So Trying to think. I think I do want to ground us in before I even go into what I wrote in the email. I'm just kind of recap what the new moon is, what the intention setting, what power you can pull in for it. So I put brown candle and I was so sure that I had one, but guess what? I don't. So I'm using a white one anyway. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't. I've got every other color but brown. All right. So we'll just use white. White covers everything. You're good. Just like a quartz crystal, that'll cover anything. If you don't have other crystals yet, that covers you to get started. So I'm going to light this candle. There we go. Got my little chime candle going. Okay, so I invite you to close your eyes. And if you feel called, I do like to ground in with a hand on my heart to center us in, especially since we're going to be setting intentions for our life or our business or both, or whatever it is that you want to call in with this. And so centering in with our heart. If you find it hard to speak about it, you can also put a hand on your throat. It really just depends on those two chakras, which ones you want to help bring into the space. I just invite you to feel into your body, feel into your breath. You don't have to change anything. I notice sometimes when I say breath, I either start to breathe deeper or breathe shallower. So it's just feeling in and listening to where we are. And just release any tension, lower the eyebrows, unclench the jaw, relax your tongue, relax your shoulders. Shake it out a little bit, relax those hips and legs. Feel where your sit bone is feeling in your chair or where you're sitting, how your legs and feet are feeling, and just kind of relax all the way down to your toes. And anything that's running around in your mind or anything you feel you have to do or any thoughts that are going, just kind of let them tumble around. Don't give them any mind. We can hand them over to Mother Gaia when we ground into her. And I'd like you to imagine every place that you can kind of feel something touching. Imagine roots of bright white light coming out of each of those spots. And we're just going to imagine them going down into the earth, down through the floor, or if you're on the earth now, down into the ground, past all the layers and levels, down, deep into the core of the earth. And all those thoughts, any tension, anything that you want to release into Mother Gaia, let that go down with the light so that you can just be grounded here in this container tonight. And when you feel really connected to her, we're going to imagine that light shooting up into the universe, back down into our crown chakra, just completing that circle, completing the energy, feeling really connected to the universe, the divine, whatever you believe in, you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths together to finish grounding in. Such beautiful energy here. And when you feel ready, take your time, come back to our Zoom room and open your eyes. No rush. Felt like this nice little burst of energy there at the end when we were all breathing together. Always feels so good and yummy. So what I really love about this new moon, and if you're familiar with the moon cycles and when you work with the full and the new moon, the day before, day after, that 3-day range, you can work with the moon and get its full power. And so even though it falls on tomorrow, tonight is Wednesday. My kids are with their dad, so it's a little easier. And of course, tomorrow is Samhain. So actually doing that on Halloween with the kids does not work. So it was I was so excited when I'm like, ooh, I can hold this masterclass on Wednesday. This is awesome. And it's the day before Samhain and we're into everything. So it's really exciting. And it's really, really powerful because it is in Scorpio, So we have a lot of that energy coming in with Scorpio being intentional with our transformations, the intimacy with our personal power. And it's a time for self-discovery, personal growth, truth. And with Samhain being adding into that power, we get extra intuition, extra spiritual insight, and connecting with our ancestors. And, Mexico and some other cultures, this is a time for them to connect with their ancestors. For those of us that practice more Samhain, where it's the thinning of the veil and we're just more connected to the spiritual realm, it's a little bit of both. I kind of really love all of the culture of this, and not to appropriate it, but just to honor it. So being truthful with yourself in this new moon about your fears, your values, your limiting beliefs, your stories, allowing really intense self-reflection so that you can grow and shift and change what it is in your life that may no longer be serving you. It may be something you no longer need to hang on to. And it's not something we're going to be letting go tonight, because the new moon is all about setting intentions and setting the place for things, where the full moon is about letting go. And so when I shared that I had looked at my medicine bundles and went, oh, wow, I have not opened those. And I am not kidding you. My little box was set during my divorce 7 years ago. And I'm like, holy crap, I need to get back into my practice. I've been busy with kids, been busy with a new marriage, been busy with building my businesses. I need to really get into my practices. And when I shared it on LinkedIn and then shared that on Facebook, and everybody was like, do it. Here we are tonight, so that I can remember I need to stay with my practices. I need to do this because it's really powerful. And when I opened up I have a little box, it's like a little book of shadows box that opens up, and I read it. I'm like, everything came to pass. Everything I asked for 7 years ago came to pass. And I really need to thank it and let it go. My medicine bundle, not so much, but I also didn't work with it. So on the full moon, I went out and I burned it. I thanked it. I released it, read it out loud. And then the next morning after it cooled off, I buried it. I redid my medicine bundle with new intentions and put it out in the full moon. It's been open this whole time after soaking up the full moon. It's been sitting on my altar. So I'm going to share all that with you, because I would love, if you want to, we can come back on the full moon and maybe do an altar masterclass, and do a little bit around the full moon so that we can see where you are with your medicine bundle. And it is okay if by the full moon you don't want to open it and you want to leave it. We can work on something else during that time, because sometimes it wants to sit there for a while. Sometimes your medicine bundles will sit for quite a while. I wouldn't recommend 7 years, but because it's something you kind of work with. So the last thing about the moon that I want to share is that it does bring stability during this next 2 weeks in personal and business relationships and partnerships. So what I love about setting our intentions for our personal life and our businesses right now is that stability and that partnership. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's going to bring. So if you have a candle with you, if you want to light that, great. If not, I am very good at holding energy in a space and it, with your permission, connecting it to you. Otherwise, if you have one, light it for your space while we do this. Otherwise, again, we can just use mine and use that energy.
I can't hear you. Your sound has disappeared.
My microphone, I touched the top of it and I turned it off. Mandy, I'm so sorry if you've been sitting in the waiting room. I'm such a horrible tech person for myself. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well,
And Mandy, where are you calling in from? Oh, we can't hear you if you haven't connected to sound yet. And welcome back, Denise. It kind of popped you off. We'll give Mandy a second to try to settle in and see if we can hear her. What did you last hear me say since I fidgeted with my microphone and turned myself off?
only when you realized you needed to turn it back on. So
Okay,
it
so it
was,
wasn't that bad.
yeah.
Okay. So if anybody else would like to call in their ancestors like I did, I like working with them, especially during this time of the year. And it just kind of, oh, you're at the airport. Great, no problem, Andy. Yeah, absolutely. Watch and listen, and the replay is going to come out to you anyway. So just soak up the energy of the space. I'm totally fine with that. Thanks for joining us and safe travels. So again, don't have to. Anybody feel like calling in their ancestors, or are you good and ready to go? Okay, wonderful. So if you have your fabric with you, it depends on how big of a medicine bundle you want. I usually work with one that ends up being about the size of like a sandwich. It works well for me. You can make it bigger, but I find that most of the time they're good smaller unless you're adding bigger things to it. Sometimes I do work with plants, sometimes I do work with shells, things like that. Most of the time I'm working with a few crystals and my paper and maybe a little bit of money if it's around money. So what we're going to do is just decide how big you want it to be. And this is where I'm going to start sharing with my phone really quick so that you can kind of see how big mine is. And what I do is when I have everything inside, I'm able to fold it in like a little burrito type thing without it rolling so that everything stays together. So I'm just going to share my video so you can kind of see, and hopefully you can still hear me. Let me know if you can. I'll bring my microphone with me. Can you still hear me pretty good all the way over here? Okay, beautiful. So what you're going to see, of course, that's if my headset will let me go. So as you can see, it's kind of about this big. And then when I fold it up, it kind of gets folded up like this, and everything kind of works in on itself and kind of goes into this kind of square. So whatever size, and then of course I have this little box that I told you about. So that just gives you a little bit of an understanding on how big it is so that you can decide with your fabric that you picked what size you want it to be, how, if it's already cut, how big you picked it to be. Did everybody bring most of their stuff with them? Okay, great. So what size do you want to work with? About the same as what I have?
I actually brought a box.
Great. Box is perfect. That's even easier. You don't have to have ribbon. You don't have to have, so I've got both, which is perfect. So we're going to do about the same thing. So once you have your fabric the size you want, or if you're working with a box, quartz is going to work for the beginning of this. But I'm going to show again, and here's what I'm running into here is my cord is not long enough with this. So what I started with is, this one is more around my business and money, where this one is more for just what I want to call in for myself and my power. So this one has some tiger's eye. I have this just cute little shine. I have my quartz. I have citrine, my favorite malachite. And yeah, that's what's in here for this one. And then in this, I put some obsidian to repel, some carnelian, some labradorite, my little woman statue, some hematite, a feather that I like to keep in there. So that just gives you kind of an idea on what you can use it for and what you can do as you start getting into putting more things inside is just look up. My intention is X, or it could be I have 3 different intentions that I can do in one. And I'm going to read you mine so you can kind of get an understanding of what I write. But again, it's whatever calls you when you're writing things down. This is your medicine bundle. This is done however you need to. And however your intention. So what I'm going to do is read you mine to give you kind of a brief understanding of how I do this. And then I'm going to give you some time to journal. We can set aside 10, 15 minutes. It just depends on how fast you write. You can look up and just let me know, hey, we're done early. No problem. I'm just going to give you a little space though, because sometimes it takes a little bit to come. So let me grab this. So this one, and it does not have to be a lot of money. It's just the intention. This one is for my business, for calling in clients, for calling in finances. So I saved some $2 bills, which I just absolutely love from when I was a kid, and used $2 bills because to me, they're just magical. Like they're the coolest things that aren't all out there all the time anymore. And I just wrapped it in with it. So my one for my business will prosper. Clients will come with ease and money. My personal finances will improve. My debt will be erased. Everything I do for my business will succeed. As I will it, so mote it be. Very simple. It's what came to me when I was writing it at the full moon. It felt good. Sometimes I have done 2 papers lengths. Sometimes I have done 1. Sometimes it's been 1 statement. It really is just depending on what is being called forth for you. There's no right or wrong. And then I wrap the money inside and then I even put a dollar bill on the outside just to have a little fun with it. And then my one in my box, I feel like because I got away from some of my practices, that I got away from some of my I am statements. And when I was in masterminds with soul sisters and working in sisterhood, it was very easy to stay in these practices. It was very easy to keep promises to myself. It was easy to keep my I am statements. When I get away from that, as you can see, 7 years go by and I didn't open it. So the one that I'm doing for this, which is why I put so many different kinds of crystals in there, I listen to and am guided by my intuition. I embody love for myself and others. I have clarity and focus. I am organized and in flow. I am motivated. I am creative. I am grounded and stable. I am strong and centered. As I will it, so mote it be. And again, that one, I'm like, oh, that one just feels really good. And so this one just gets put into my little box, and to be able to fit it around the crystals, it's just like folded up nice and tight and it just gets popped in that box. And so after we journal, we'll come back and you'll put everything inside. And then I'm going to just walk you through the process of what you're going to do for the new moon energy. And then what you're going to do on the full moon. And if you want, we can come back on the full moon to talk about some other things. So I'm going to give you some space right now to journal. I think I lost my. There. I did lost my Spotify. It went away. Hopefully you guys can't hear my dog in the background. I'm going to give you your space. Have about 2 minutes left, everybody. One more minute. All right. Apologize for my little bit of like clumsiness. These windows on Macs just like disappear on me, and I'm used to having my 2 screens behind me, and I have a system down, and this is not easy. Just holding that attention. Everything's going the way it's supposed to. So I probably should have said this before we started journaling. It's okay if you're not finished. This isn't something you have to finish creating tonight, as long as it's ready by tomorrow night or even Friday night to put out into the new moon and start to charge. You're totally fine. So if there's things you want to add, if there's things that, this really is about learning to listen to our intuition, learning, one thing that I do when I teach people to tap into their psychic gifts, it's like what comes first is what's meant to come forward. Don't overthink it. Don't, oh, should I write that a little different? No, it's written exactly as it was meant to be in this moment. It's perfect as it is. There's something coming through for you. And when you listen to that, it just helps set your intention. So one thing I love to share about medicine bundles when you're setting intentions, it's almost like using sigils and spell bags and everything. You don't want to over pray about it, to use a word that most people know. It's like, it's not something you need to say, I want this to happen so badly that I'm going to ask for every second, every day. And I'm very compulsive like that. I know that that's something that I kind of overdo and over obsess about. So that's what I love so much about medicine bundles and medicine boxes is you're shutting it, you're completing it, and you're putting it on your altar or in a safe place. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And you do get to just kind of sit it and forget it. And again, I'll make fun of myself. Don't do it for 7 years, but it is something that you're able to put aside and let it work. Let it work for you. So in this part, and apologies again, I just need to get my screen where I want it. Nope, it's just not going to do it for me. When you put it outside, you're going to place it in a spot where the moon can hit it. Yes, it's a new moon. It doesn't look like there's any light, but trust me, it's there. That energy is there. And you're just going to set it overnight. You're going to leave it open. You're going to let the crystals, you're going to let your paper, anything that you put in with it. And like I said, you can put anything that you feel called to. The beautiful thing that I love about working with nature and the pieces that come from nature is they talk to you. And I've been working with my crystals for a long time. And I know the ones that have the attributes that I want for prosperity, for abundance, for, what are proprietor stones, what are merchant stones, what are things to help me connect to self-love. You kind of know those, but every once in a while I'll go in and I'll go into my little tray of all these crystals that are sitting there, and a couple of them that I have no idea if they even have the attributes I want. I like, nope, I want in. And so you just pick them up and you put them in. There's a reason that they call to you if you're really listening, and you just get that little nudge, like, oh, my eye got just called to this one, and it's saying it wants to go in, and that's fine. It may not have been one I would have intentionally picked, but it's definitely one that for some reason it's going to do something for it. And I just listen to that. I just listen to that intuition around it. And I do not know all the crystals. I don't know all their attributes. So I use Google quite well. I use crystal sites. Like, what are the attributes for this? What are the attributes for this? What crystals are best for this? And use it. It's your friend. Google's your friend. It's a beautiful library at our fingertips that you can find what you want. And if there's herbs you want to use, I use herbs and flowers a lot in my spell bags. I haven't used it so much in my medicine bundle, but you can use herbs, you can use flowers, plants, crystals. Like I said, I love using seashells once in a while. I work with a lot of the goddesses during moon circle. So sometimes their attributes and the things that that are attributed to them have a lot of power. So once you set that out and you put everything in it that you want, you just let it charge overnight. And then in the morning or when you get up, just go in and bring it in and put it either on your altar or in the place that you're going to leave it, and just let it kind of finish soaking up and kind of resting and really getting ready for the intention. If you want to, you can close it up. Or if you want to wait to the evening, it's 100% whatever's calling to you. But once you go and close it up, you're going to leave it on your altar. And I'm going to send this in the follow-up email. Even so you have this recording, but I'm also going to say it out loud to you now. It's just my own little spell, I guess. And as you start getting used to doing this, you can make up your own. So the one that that I created for you is, I have placed within the Sacred Medicine Bundle my written intentions. As I read them out loud, and read them out loud before you go ahead and close it, infuse what I'm asking for with the power of the new moon and my own magical intentions and energy. As I will it, so mote it be. And it's just that extra layer of, this is what I'm asking for before I close it up. And then go ahead and either, if it's a box, just go ahead and close it. Makes it easy. If it's your actual fabric bundle, then like I said, I kind of like fold it into a square, and then I have my pretty ribbon and all these pieces. I had twine the first, and then I found this pretty ribbon that was gifted to me during a ceremony with my sister circle. And then I was gifted a little crystal charm, and everything's just kind of grown into my medicine bundle. And it's just, it's just organic. It becomes what it wants to. And little pieces are gifted to you. You find them and you're like, oh, this would be great for my medicine bundle or my medicine box. Maybe you find this really awesome stamp that you want to put on the outside of your box. You do what you want and what calls to you for that. So once you close it up or wrap it tightly and place it on your altar or a special place that it won't be disturbed, you're just going to leave it. When you feel that what you have asked for has either come to fruition or some of it has, and you feel that it's starting to wane and enough of it has come your way, you can open it up and redo it. And we can talk about that too. It's that same kind of ceremony that I talked about releasing it. So your paper, you can burn it, you can wash it in water and let it go down the drain. I'm a Sagittarius, fire's a big thing for me. Water, I tend to use more with my moon water, putting distilled water out and spring water out and charging it and then using it in different things with my plants or with, washing my face one night. I tend to use water more that way. But fire is a really great release, and it goes to ashes. It turns back to earth. I bury it, and it now becomes part of my garden, and it's released back into Mother Gaia. So when you feel it's finished, and we can talk about that during the full moon with releasing the intentions. But if it's another full moon, we can go through the process. You don't have to do it. You can just learn the process. And then you just start all over again. You set your intentions, you do that during the new moon, you redo the bundle any way that you want it. And that whole process can just go over and over and over again. And you guys know me. We're connected on Facebook, we're connected on LinkedIn, Mandy. You can ask me anything you need to at any time. It's like, hey, what was this part again? Like I'm always here. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about altar, I could hold another masterclass on how you could actually create your space. It can be as elaborate or as simple as you want. It's just a sacred space that you're able to set your things on and work with. I actually, because I was called back into doing this, I reset up my altar. I set one up behind me here. So, oh, no, that's right. I'm on this. I set one up here behind me. It's on like my little table. So it's like all the crystals I want to use. And sorry, guys, I'm going to kill in my camera here. There we go. I'm all fidgety and all over the place. So I have my one that I work on with my bundles, and then I have one and I put crystals around my computer. I just really want to infuse magic and the energy in my space. I work from home. My business is online. I want to be able to infuse what I do in this online space. So depending on what you're going to use it for, just ask me if you need some more clarity on it. So if you're interested in another masterclass on creating an altar, we can do that, in another couple weeks or next month. We're getting into the holidays, so I don't want to like overburden people. And then, like I mentioned, I also do moon circles, so I'm happy to start doing those again if you feel called to join. I know, Denise, you're always there, so we definitely need to get back into it. I need my practices again. And what I learned during that, the rituals I create, there's always a meaning behind the moon. I always call on a goddess, and crystals and colors and food and plants. Like it's pretty in depth, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really connecting. And the rituals that are created for it is something to use through that night and over the next 2 weeks, sometimes months, sometimes a year. It really depends on what you want out of it. And if you're trying to shift and change something in your life, sometimes you need to use it longer than just the couple weeks with the power of the full moon. It's something that you can incorporate into your daily practices. So it really just depends on what we're calling in. I do it as a kind of a circle holding. So we share and we do journaling, and I have prompts, and then we go through the ritual, and then everything's sent to you to be able to use for as long as you want it. So if that's something you're interested, you guys are all on my list. I'll just keep sending emails and making events. I do have a Your Neighborhood Witch Moon Circles group on Facebook where I can start actually making events and inviting you into, so that we can stay connected and learn some more cool things together. I'm just like so appreciative of everybody showing up tonight and taking time out to join me and learn something. I love teaching things that I learned. I want to open it up to everybody. Do you have any questions for me around everything that we just did? Cool. I did a good job then.
Yeah, I used to teach a workshop on angelic manifesting, and this is
Mm,
very similar. So
yeah.
this is really kind of cool, but I like this because of the earthier energy and the,
I'm an earth witch. Yeah,
yeah,
I am completely connected to nature and herbs and
yeah,
flowers and plants. Like I've tried the kitchen
mm,
stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm really an earth
yeah, just all
nature.
those earth energies,
Yeah.
and yeah,
And it's
that's
so
me too.
grounding.
Yeah,
So grounding. And I've learned, and Lisa, we met through Lisa, right? Vaz? Yes. So she
yep.
has taught me so much. So
Oh,
Lisa,
same here.
just to let Mandy and Denise know, she's an occultist. So she doesn't actually identify as a witch per se. She's an occultist. And one thing that I really love about what she taught me is you practice the way you practice. Nobody can tell you how often to do something, or even how to do it, or even if you should do it. It's what you want to do and what you're, and so that made me feel so much lighter. It's like, because when you think of a lot of paganisms, it's like, especially Wiccan, well, this is how we do it, and you have to do this, and this is how you set up your altar, and this is how you do, and it's like, yeah, but that's so busy for me. Like it feels so overwhelming for me when I can just do something like this.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. It's one of the things I love about her too. But I keep thinking back to all these, they say, well, you need these and you need this and you need all this other stuff and you need to buy all this stuff. And I'm thinking, but that's not what my ancestors did.
No, they
They
just
went out
used
to
what
the
was on
woods
the
and
earth.
said, this twig will work and this leaf and this flower and yeah.
Exactly.
And
And I love
I
you bringing the Native American culture into, because my grounding and my circle calling in is a Native American circle calling in the corners. It just
yep.
calls to me and it's just beautiful. And I relate so much to how they revere nature. It's all around us.
There's just something to being connected to it all. And the more deeply you connect, the more connected you are. And I know that just sounds like a weird way to say it, but yeah,
Oh, it's so true.
yeah, I really feel it when I'm not practicing my connection. Because, yeah.
I do too. I've realized how much being disconnected from it has stopped my creativity and my manifestation. And it's like those times where we just kind of let it go to the side and get all busy, busy, busy in the world and stop connecting to what we know is the helps with the seed of our power. My sister-in-law and I have a pussy group actually where we connect in to her seat of creativity and her inner wisdom. And it's like palm reading, but for pussies. And it's incredible, but
Yeah.
it helps me connect with sisterhood. It keeps me connected. It reminds me of the work I need to do. And it always calls back to this sisterhood and doing these things and doing my practices a simple way. I have autoimmune diseases. I'm exhausted. I run businesses and have kids, and I need simple. And
Simple is good.
simple. And I did what you were saying. I found something on eBay where somebody was selling like their whole altar set and it was all cobalt and beautiful. And I got the anthem and the bowl and all this stuff. And you know where it is? It sits in a box under my bench because it's too much. Like I have my cauldron, I have the little thing that I can burn in. I have my crystals. Like crystals is what I work with. Crystals and writing.
Yeah,
That's my magic.
I work with plants a lot, but I have 2 drawers full of fancy candles.
Yeah. And they sit there, don't they?
They smell great.
Don't they though? Every time you open it, it
Oh
smells
my gosh.
amazing.
Even not, yeah, even just walking past the
Yeah.
drawers where they are, I can smell it. And it's like, oh, it feels so good. But yeah, simple.
Simple. Simple. And those are the dollar store has those. So I've got all the colors for
Yes,
calling in the
they do.
corners. And yeah,
Yep.
it's a buck. Well, $1.25 now.
Yeah.
But you
But
can't beat it.
birthday candles work great too.
Birthday candles work great. They
Yep.
do. But I forget about them because they're in the drawer for birthdays.
Yeah, I tend to use birthday candles a lot because being ADHD, I don't like sitting for a long period of time. And if I'm working on something and I want something done quickly, it's the intention, it's
Yes.
yeah. So
I love it. Simple is better. It's like
simple
you
is
do
great.
what calls to you and what works for you. And that is all that matters.
Yeah,
Really is all that matters.
yeah. If it's from
I
the heart.
It is from the heart. And that's what I love about it so much. So I want to thank you guys. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know it's getting late. Again, I'll send the replay out. I'll send the little tips and the little intention spell mantra that I wrote for you. And you can use it or you can make up your own. It's whatever calls to you. Sometimes the first couple times you do things, it's easy to use somebody else's. It's really your intention and energy behind it as you speak it that really matters. And then as you get used to it and it kind of comes to you, you can start writing your own words when you're doing things like this and how you want to do it. And so again, thank you so much. I so appreciate all of you and thank you for joining me tonight. And I will stay in touch so we can start doing some more of these on different areas to just kind of teach and get y'all set up in your witchy ways.
Thank you. This has been great.
Oh, I'm so
Really enjoyed
glad.
it. Thank you.
Have a great night, everybody.